We saw ourselves pretty much as Warhol's factory on Merseyside. There was a period of time when we were all sharing a house together, and there were, little bits of creativity going on in various ways, and we developed something of a reputation for ourselves as being a little weird.
After leaving university, Barker spent the next 10 years on the dole, touring with his fringe theatre group, the Dog Company.
I mean, we were a completely unknown company, consisting of entirely unknown actors, producing entirely unknown plays by an entirely unknown playwright.
It was a winner.
It was a hard sell a lot of the time.
Yeah, when I did Frankenstein, I had to get cling film on first, cover and body cling film. It was an extraordinary creation, actually. It looked brilliant, and that was the thing that actually made people faint up in Edinburgh. I think it was the scariest of the...
Certainly in Edinburgh, we hardly had to do any publicity. Word of mouth spread round, and the show just was sold out every night.
Tomorrow I'll recant.
They'll break your fingers.
Let them.
Tell them a story, like I do.
About what?
I tell them we eat babies, drink piss. I tell them we watch corpses raped by dogs. We shit on the host. I tell them a goat with a prick of hot iron comes out of the trees and we all kiss its rump by the light of living children buried in excrement up to their necks with their heads on fire. And they believe it. Every word. They cross themselves with every new abomination and thank the Lord for bringing this poor monster into the light of his redemption.
I mean, I think we rather naively thought that all we had to do was present this extraordinary work to the public, who would go, wow, this is amazing. And when the critics didn't do that, I mean, we would have many a dark morning of the soul poring over these reviews. And, but Clive's attitude then was not, what are we doing wrong? Or what was he doing wrong? He would always be asking the question, why aren't they getting it? Why can't they see it? And that, I mean, he always had unshakable belief in what he was doing.
There was a great closeness because we had very few tools beyond our imaginations. A lot of theory was spoken, a lot of passions were exchanged. There was a lot of anger, a lot of disappointment, a lot of frustration, but there was also a lot of wonderful creativity.
Clive certainly was the boiler house of the company. I mean, he was involved in every single aspect. He was writing the plays, he was directing the plays. Initially, he was also acting in them as well, but then he stepped out of that.
He wasn't any good as an actor. He did. he would say that. It was very good that he stopped acting, I think.
The Dog Theatre Company toured extensively throughout Europe and the UK. In 1975, Barker made a second film based on the Faust legend.
Out of a desire to make this movie on a very, very modest budget, probably in the hundreds of pounds, nevertheless evoke the presence of transcendental beings, we decided we'd shoot the whole thing in negative. I still love, white shadows and the sense that literally the rules of the world have been inverted.
Atkins played the central Faustian character who's graphically skinned in the film.
In the same sort of arrogant assumption that we could make world-class theatre on no money, we decided we could probably make world-class cinema on no money too. We got 600 quid from Merseyside Arts, basically to buy film stock. And we spent A long time trying to make The Forbidden. 2 years worth of filming, I think.
For most people, being involved with a theatre company would be a full-time job. But Clive was always involved in something else as well. I mean, he was endlessly being surprised by another batch of short stories, or he'd been painting away at something, or making sculptures of the devil, or whatever it was going to be.
My theatre agent took, I think, 5 short stories, which I had written for my own entertainment. I mean, they were dark, strange little tales, and I don't know really even if I'd even thought they were fit for public consumption. I knew they were fit for the consumption of my friends, but I don't think I was really, I don't think I ever thought, well, I shall publish these.
But when Barker did publish the first of his short stories in 1984, they were an immediate success. The Books of Blood, as they were called, eventually ran to 6 volumes.
Perhaps they would remember her, as he had said they might, finding her cracked skull in tomorrow's ashes. Perhaps she might become, in time, a story with which to frighten children. She had lied, saying she leapt. The circling undertow snatched at him immediately. He barely had time to draw breath before he was sucked beneath the surface and dragged round and round, down and down. He felt himself buffeted against on the lower bunk, lay a dark, wretched shape, still solidifying as Clive watched, knitting itself together from the shadows. There was something of a rabid fox in its incandescent eyes, in its arsenal of needle teeth. Something of an upturned insect, her features dissolved, becoming the Red Sea he dreamt of, and washing up over his face that was itself dissolving, common waters of thought and bone.
One of those stories, Rawhead Rex, was made into a film, which you didn't like. And so, was it a result of that you made the film Hellraiser?
I was appalled by the film stuff that had come previous to Hellraiser, right? There's a movie called Underworld. I can barely get the word out, you see. And Rawhead Rex. And I disliked both of them fiercely. I'd read enough about the way that movies work to realize that very possibly, if I remained a writer, I would never see a movie that I liked from my work. So I thought, well, I can't do any worse than these movies. I might not do significantly better, but I really don't think I can do any worse. And I sat down with some friends, and we calculated what we could get for $1 million. You know, a modest number of actors and a modest number of special effects. And I had written a novella called The Hellbound Heart, and we agreed that this was not a bad start. So I turned that into a screenplay, and we hiked it around England first, hoping we would find the money we needed here. Came close on a couple of occasions, but nobody wanted to take the risk. The high old days of Hammer films had long since passed. So we went over to America, where we really didn't have any contacts, and talked our way into a lot of offices. And we signed what, in retrospect, is the sucker's deal, you know, because we signed our lives away. And
so you didn't make much from those?
No, absolutely not. Halfway through the shooting of the picture, the people from New World who'd been getting the dailies in Los Angeles, so this was all shot in North London, house in Dollis Hill. L.A. was getting the Dollis Hill dailies. And they started to look at this stuff. They thought, oh, actually, there's something going on here. We're spending this $1 million, and we thought it was sort of straight to video, but actually, there's something going on here.